Why, hello there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogboat333 and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, the newer last series of Europe as Buryatia. In the last video, I believe we decided the fate of the NKVD and we decided to keep him around, at least some degree. Try to reform it instead of just tearing it down. Which wasn't the most wholesome, admittedly, which we are going for the wholesome game. But we'll just have to take it from here on out. I'm not going Bukharinist. I'm going Sablinite. But I figured I'd bite a bit of the bullet and just go with it. Hey, that's democracy. I showed it. The video's going live at noon, actually, or noon my time. It was a pretty decisive blow in favor of Sablinite, so gotta follow the will of the people. Work on reintegrating these guys. Got a nice bonus. We're getting a nice bonus from Leninist economy. Wait, match is starting, so time to get to multitasking. There we go. Today is the Argentina versus Croatia game, I believe. Let's get ready to raid these guys. I am admittedly not the biggest football guy. But I'm paying attention. A little bit. Usually what happens is I decide who the underdog is and I end up rooting for them if America isn't in the cup. Which the damn Dutch knocked them out. So, yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead. Get on with trial. Gaze burning with vitriol, you go to scout at Sebline from the dock, his pitted face twisted with content. Undaunted, Sebline stared right back. They decided to hold the trial in the opera house so as many people could be packed in as possible. Brown's voice echoed in the cavernous space as he read out the list of the tyrant's crimes. Through it all, Yagoda didn't so much as flinch. Genrik Grigoryevic Yagoda. This court of soldiers and workers finds you guilty of all the charges laid against you. Now that you are finally responsible, do you feel the slightest regret for the vile crimes you have committed against Russia and her people? Brown looked down at Yagoda, trying his best not to look smug. Yagoda turned his head fractionally to look up at Braun. When he spoke, it was as though his words were being dredged from sediment in the depth of Lake Baikal itself. Yes, I am sorry. I'm very sorry that, when I had the chance, I did not shoot you all. Brown's smirk darkened as he took a seat. Let it be known that the accused expresses no remorse. Now, as to the matter of punishment. While the court debated, Sebline stared in Yagoda's eyes and tried to make sense of what he saw in there. In his time to go to service, Sebline had never met the man and formed an image in his mind of a colossal, statuesque figure beyond simple humanity. It was easier to fight that entity than the short, haggard man who sat half sunken in the dock. Why had he become so hollow with hate? Whatever led him to bathe his hands in so much blood? Sebline felt a raging urge to see Yagoda extinguish, for as much for the crimes he had committed as for the grim vision of what he could become if he gave into power's black temptation. And so when Yagoda's sentence was announced, 5 years on a prison's farm, Sabline's jaw clenched. Insufficient. The man was a tyrant, a murderer, a plunderer, an enemy to everything right and pure. Consumed by sudden wildness, Sabline yearned to lead forward, drag Yagoda out into the mud, and give him the justice he deserved. Ooh. Huh. You know what, we'll We'll hold on. I figured it would be that as much. We cannot forget the blood that has been spilled and the sacrifices made in the name of our revolution. However, vengeance must not overtake sense. By killing this former oppressor, we set a dangerous precedent. Uganda must serve as an example of a new character of our socialist state. Instead of committing an extrajudicial murder, as the old NKVD would have, we'll organize a public trial. Ultimately, I'll show more strength and restraint than violence. Not gonna lie, I kind of want him dead too. But I already bit the bullet with one major Sablinite or non-Sablinite path. Ooh, excellent. Extra liquid reserves. Our economy is coming along okay. Got a bit of a deficit, but what are you gonna do there? We still have no debt right now, which I'm pleasantly surprised about. Go ahead and get some loot going. Our infrastructure is going to be improved, I think, here? Yeah, here. Civil Rights Act of 1962. There we go. I saw on Reddit, one Reddit posted a screenshot about one bringing United West Russian United West Siberia. I saw that post too. I saw that post as well. Let's do Unite Forever. The symphony of equality is slowly building to a crescendo. Once heavy air weighing down on the common man's broad shoulders has assumed a light and formed. Long sealed lips begin to sing as free expression returns to life on the shores of Lake Baikal. The people, long cynical in their attitudes, have begun to feel a revived kinship. Once again, all truly become comrades. Without coercion, brutality, or betrayal, the people find faith in our inevitable goal. While fully healing our scars may take some time, our progress towards the liberation of the proletariat and the restoration of legitimacy has begun. Wonderful. I think I might work on industrial stuff from here. Swallowing the bile that rose to his throat, Sevlin clenched his fists. Why did I say fence? And clamped his eyes shut, lest the sight of a tyrant sent him catapulting forward to enact vengeance upon him for all the innocents he had killed. Teeth grinding, every muscle in his body tense as Yugoto's led away. All that death, all that spilled blood for 5 years on a prison farm. Somebody had lost someone to Yugoto's reign of terror, and this was his punishment? Breathing deeply, Sablin barely noticed as the opera house began to empty. Finally, he raised his head and slowly opened his eyes, squinting as they readjusted to the light. For the first time, he truly saw the mural that adorned the dome. It was an image of the October Revolution, the workers storming the Winter Palace, red flags unfurled and fluttering in the wind. Slowly, Sablin calmed himself. Relaxing his shoulders, he reminded himself that this was what he was fighting for, the right for the people to make their own justice, without a tyrant to force their hand. If he indulged his temptation to deliver the vengeance of murdered thousands upon Yagoda, it would have been an abdication of everything he stood for. Feeling a hand on his shoulder, Sablin turned his head to look into Pachiro's face. She gazed down at him with an expression of infinite compassion. Valera, take heart. We fight for a better future, not to take vengeance for the cruelty of the past. By showing clemency, we demonstrate to the tyrant and all the peoples of Russia that we will never repeat his crimes. Mercy, Valera. Mercy is our greatest weapon against the enemies of all that is just. Blinking away tears, Sablin smiled as he took one last glance at the mural. The two old friends left the opera house, shivering in the chill evening breeze. The best revenge is to be unlike him, who performed the injury. Imagine if you get a tablet schema whenever Coots' rework is uploaded after you finish a Sablin series. Coots series would change Sablin to. That's good to know. Ooh. Yeah, because I know this whole region is going to be pretty heavily reworked. So probably. I don't know. I wasn't leaning heavily one way or the other, if I'm honest. about what I wanted to happen, but part of me did hope that the wholesome path would work out just so I could have played it for reference. Kev, how are ya? Good to see you, laddie. How are ya? Just to be able to know what it was like and, you know, have it documented when the rework happens. Because what, I have that with Glenn. I have that with Corsigen. I guess Hydrix eventually gonna get reworked, so I have that old legacy record as well. Freaks my cock off waiting on the train. Nice. Tough. Tough. I think I gotta go with the, gotta go with, the beautiful, apparently, Boris Makarov. What do we want to work on? Research, equipment, or expertise? I think all of them are kind of going up. Equipment. I think I'll train new workers. That's my face when I was in a part of the city I didn't know. Part of the country I didn't know. Didn't know where the train station was and I had to wait for a train at 5 in the morning. Oh no, Kalinka. TNO really needs an espionage update someday. I agree. It's an obvious mechanic for the world and it's disappointing it's incorporated. I'm there with ya. Otto Braun shuffled through the street towards the opera house, breath steaming before him and the great anus before him. Rheumatic old knees aching in the harsh Siberian cold, boots crunching on morning frost, a couple of cobbles like the pall on his soul. Braun delivered the pelagic depth of his memory. All these years later, his exile from Germany still lodged in his heart like a cruel dagger. A calendar to slice years from his life, and still the pain did not fade. The dim years after his flight from prison in 1928 had been marked by failure and pain. First by the annihilation of his communist allies in China, then by the collapse of the Soviet Union into 1,000 bickering shards. And still it worsened as he learned, from the slow tide of information that rolled over the shadowed Russia, that his once lover Olga had been murdered in the Nazi death camps. She had burned so bright, and the fascists had snuffed the flame within her like they had with so many others. He had loved her, loved how she made him feel. He could still feel the thrill when she'd helped break him out of prison. The memories of their evenings together in Moscow kept him warm on so many cold Siberian nights. All was dust now. Lenin's dream lay crushed, and Olga moldered in a mass grave. Braun felt diminished, withered, broken against the wheel of time's relentless advance. He contemplated ending his torment more than once. Then, Sabine and Petro had come to him in Irkutsk, speaking revolution of making Lenin's dream live again. They were children, vainly idealistic, and yet he couldn't help but become their mentor. What else was left to him? He would happily give his life for even the slightest chance that socialism might rise from the ashes like a phoenix. And yet, no matter how many years passed, Olga's face would be forever burned into his mind's eye, beaming as she'd been during their dash from the prison through the icy fields of distant Saxony. Give me the waters of Letha that numb the heart, and still I will be unable to forget you. Let's do... shackles broken. The place of women in revolution has been a question for many socialist movements. Ours among them, our female comrades, have been just as oppressed by the specter of the capitalism as men, if not more so. Why can't they fight on the front lines or work as medics in the field hospitals? She'll promptly decree an order and make women equal to men in army capacity. Female battalions become a staple of our army. All people are comrades, not just the men, but the women too. Our armies will fear our female soldiers just as much as any man. Finally got a little bit of debts. Building another hospital in Irkutsk. School coverage we have nailed down pretty well. We're really suffering on hospitals, so we still got some time. The streets of Ulan-Ude were filled with a palpable sense of optimism. People of Buryatia SSR were of a strange breed in the anarchy of the former Soviet Union, where much of the people of Russia had become jaded and disillusioned with life in the anarchy. The people of Savin State were idealistic in the extreme. Perhaps even more surprising was the fact that their idealism was not blind to the realities of the world. They knew how unfair the world was, but they fought against the darkness, regardless. As a stranger walked through the streets, observing the excitement and happiness that surrounded him, he could not help but be caught up in it himself. He was no socialist, but at the same time, he could not help but understand the appeal. As he walked, a man in the uniform of Savin's Red Army approached him, hands well away from his weapon. "Greetings, comrade. What brings you to our fair city?" he questioned with a smile. The stranger was struck by just how genuine it seemed to be. "I'm simply passing through. I'll be seeking lodging for the night before moving on. I'm heading east," he replied. He's now no reason to lie to the man. Unlike in Yagoda's territories, he was unlikely to be murdered for saying the wrong thing. "Very well, comrade. I would recommend you go down Main Street for 3 blocks. On the left side of the street is a small hotel. Perfect for travelers like yourself." If you do not mind my asking, what brought you to the Far East?" "In truth, I do not know. Not really. I've wandered Russia for years. It's just another trek for me." He knew exactly what he sought, yet he doubted he would ever find it. Strange thing to hear in these times. How we're gonna be. I've got to introduce myself. My name is Sergeant Victor Shikov. It was a pleasure to meet you. Name's Alexander. Good to meet you. Thank you for your advice. The stranger said as he began to walk down the street, a slight smile on his face. "Of course, my friend." Well, God help us all. I'm curious, does this mean we need to power the Sabelnet wing or the Bukharinus wing? I'm not entirely sure. Based Alexander the German, great. Right. I could have done the German accent there. Dang it. Well, that's okay. That is okay. We'll do hospital construction, and then follow that up with some good old industry management. Not entirely sure what that means for Uruguay, but I know, we did. Feels bad. Chin resting on his hand, Sablin listened to his comrades savagely debate the status of women in the revolution. Letting their words wash over him, Sablin recalled that Lenin had always said women were crucial to the revolution, like many chauvinistic communists preferred to ignore. Until recently, he'd given a little thought to the issue, preoccupied as he was, but sure in Ulanovaskaya had given him a lot to think about. If he were to create a new Russia where men and women were equal in every way, shouldn't women be able to serve in combat if they so choose? Making a decision, Sablin shot to his feet. "Comrades!" he boomed, cutting through the din. Immediately silence, every face turned to him. "Are these attitudes towards women not reactionary? Lenin said women are as important as men in achieving triumph of revolution. It's our duty to ensure that they have the freedom to choose how they may serve their cause. If the women of Russia wish to hold a rifle for the revolution, let them." Taking a seat, Sablin sensed the effect his words had on his audience, like an electric current running through the air. Sitting across him, Pachura shot him a grin. In a few minutes, the Central Committee voted unanimously to allow women full equality in service to the revolution. Soldiers were sent running through the street, calling the news to all. And before the day was out, masses of women flooded the opera house, demanding to be enlisted. Standing on the stage with his hands on his hips, Sablin looked down with satisfaction into the chaos of a pit. Beside him, Pachura amiably draped her arm around his shoulder. "Ah, Valera, I knew you'd do the right thing. All women to arms." Let's go ahead. I think the only thing that really matters, we might as well just do steady reform at this point. As Marx said, so incisively surmised long ago, the human history can be best understood through the lens of the oppressed and his oppressor, each diametrically opposed in their ceaseless struggle. However, age has widened the oppressor. In those lands not yet claimed by the fascists, he employs an insidious method to mask his intentions. A mask forms upon the contours of his face. Slowly he morphs into something new. A rational moderate. Quick to support theoretical causes, he will suffer no discomfort acknowledging the position's moral righteousness. Oh yes, the cause is surely just. His contentions, however, appears upon any real implementation. Is it time? He cries. Why must you alienate the people with such swift changes? After an enlightened conversation with Comrade Patur, Common Sabline has seen the truth behind these nefarious lies. A socialist woman will be equal to the man in all matters. As an inseparable aspect of bourgeois culture, sex-based societal roles must become a thing of the past. Let the moderates shout. Our causes align with the highest ideals of Lenin and Marx. We shall not drag our feet. Ooh. Got improved rifles, which is excellent. We'll get sport weapons going next. Swap these guys out. Still doing pretty well, production unit wise. I'm not complaining. It's turning sad when I found something out today. What'd you find out, my friend? What makes you sad? Who dares break my dear friend Kev's heart? Guys like devs remove Irish kamikaze bombers. Oh no. Oh no. That breaks my heart too. Ooh. 23rd Panzer Division, thank you for the follow, my friend. How are you? Welcome to stream. Let's get a revolutionary woman going. Beyond any policy arguments on proposed reforms, it is clear that socialism benefits all. With the destruction of the bourgeois property relations, the expansion of welfare, and the reordering of society, conditions are rapidly changing. No longer forced to pry an existence from the hands of their masters, the women of the Soviet Union enjoy many benefits. Freed from wage labor, they now have time for jovial pursuits. Adequate attention can be safely given to family, career, duty, and happiness. Epic indeed. In addition, mothers no longer suffer the indignity of working alongside their child. Public schooling and relaxed quotas have ensured a better upbringing and an end to any lingering child labor. The extent of our policy may vary, but it is undeniable that the socialist woman has become emancipated by revolution. PRB looking up what war crimes the 23rd Panzer Division committed. Well, that's it for you two people. So, thanks as always for watching. To all YouTube people, like if you liked, dislike if you didn't. If you have comments, check out the comment section below. I read all of that again. I appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Check out my links down in the description box below. And that's about it for now. Thanks as always for watching, my friends. My name has been Mr. Doggo with 333. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.